Which model wins, selling blocks of 10 personal training sessions or selling high ticket personal training? In this video I'm going to speak about the pros and cons of either one of those, so at the end of it you can decide which path you'd like to go down. Now, in case you're wondering who the heck I am, my name's Eric Simpson and I was an impersonal personal trainer for over 15 years. I started off as a freelancer going to people's homes. I then went to commercial gyms and eventually I opened up my own PT studio, employing my own staff. So everything I'm sharing is based on what I've actually done in the trenches and not out of some textbook. So let's dive into, first of all, the pros of selling blocks of 10. And by the way, when I say blocks of 10, I'm talking about blocks of 5, I'm talking about pay as you go. The first pro is it validates you as a personal trainer. There's nothing more powerful than somebody actually paying you for your services. You feel like you're in the game, you feel like, yeah, somebody recognizes my skill and they're happy to invest in it, and that gives you a lot of confidence. So that's pro number one, it validates you as a PT. The second pro is it's a short-term commitment from a client's point of view. They're not having to commit for a long period of time. They can almost dip the toe in the water, and typically if it's a block of 10 PT sessions, it's normally 2 sessions per week, so it's a 5-week commitment. So it's not too long, but it's long enough for them to be able to ascertain as to whether or not they can get a decent result and whether or not they actually want to work with you for a longer period of time. And pro number 3 is it's instant cash flow into your bank account. You know, if you're charging 50, 60, 70 quid an hour, multiply that by 10, that's money that's landed in your account straight away, which is a good feeling again and gives you a little bit of breathing space from a financial point of view. So what are the 3 cons of selling blocks of 10 PT sessions? The first one is it's kind of short term. You know, it is literally 5 weeks. So there's a bit of a pressure cooker there, especially if you're working in the fat loss space. You're expected to get a significant result in 5 weeks. Now, yes, you can get a significant result in that period of time, but there's going to be pressure on you to a certain extent, and there's also going to be pressure on the client as well. So I see that as a bit of a con, especially in the fat loss space. This is probably the biggest con I see with selling blocks of 10, and that is you have to resell it every 5 weeks if you're seeing somebody twice a week. So if you've got a client roster that is made up of clients who are on blocks of 10, let's say you've got 15 clients and they've all started at different times, the chances are at the start of any given week you're going to have 2 to 3 conversations where you are trying to get people to sign up again for another block of 10 PT sessions. And depending upon how they've got on, that could either be a very easy conversation, which is great, or it could be a tricky conversation if they're the sort of client who's struggling, or the sort of client who misses sessions, has had their sessions moved around and they've been a bit difficult. Those are not easy conversations to have, and it only takes 2 or 3 people to say they're not signing up again with you on a regular basis, and not only do you lose cash, but it also starts to erode away your confidence a little bit as well. So I see the reselling part of it as a massive con in my experience. And the third big con is your cash flow goes up and down. You know, you can't predict what you'll be earning one month to the next because people are starting and they're finishing all the time, and you're hoping that somebody else is going to sign up. So it's very, very difficult to have predictable monthly cash flow. And if you're anything like I came from a military background. I had stable monthly cash flow every month. I knew at the first of the month X amount was going to land in my bank account, therefore I could plan for holidays, mortgage payments, car payments, you know, and anything else I needed to pay for. It was easy to plan for that. But selling blocks of 10, I think you lose that level of predictability. Okay, let's talk about the pros and cons then of selling a high ticket personal training program. Pro number 1 is you get monthly repeatable income, and it's predictable. So you know at the start of the month you're going to have X amount of pounds land in your bank account. So if you have, let's just say hypothetically, 10 clients paying you £300 each per month, you've got 3 grand landing in your account on the 1st of January, February, March. Especially if it's over 3 months. If it's 6 months, count for 6 months. If it's 12 months, count for 12 months. So you get that predictability, and that is important. I mentioned earlier my past career was in the military. I had income coming in every month, so I could plan for all the outgoings, all the holidays, savings I wanted to plan for. I was able to do that. And when you have high ticket programs that are sold like this, it can give you that level of predictability, which I think is really good. The other pro that I see for selling high ticket programs is you tend to get better results. Why? Because somebody has committed for a set period of time to get a particular result, and you've got that time to work with them. Typically, a high ticket program is going to be a minimum, I would suggest, 3 months long. And by the way, if you haven't got one and you want to find out how to create yours, then click the link in the description. I can help you out with that. So it gives you an opportunity to get better results for your clients, which means you get them better results, they're happier, they're happy to refer you, and you can hopefully get a testimonial out of that, so you can start attracting more clients into your business, which is great. The third pro is affordability from a client's point of view. You know, rather than saying, okay, you're going to sell them a block of 10, 10 times whatever your hourly rate is, 50, 60, 70 quid. So it could be £500, it could be up to £700. Instead of charging that up front, you can now charge them maybe half of that, but you have a number of those payments coming in over X number of months. And people are happy to pay monthly. They pay for their mortgages, they pay for their cars, they pay for Netflix monthly. So charging monthly is not a big deal. Now let's talk about some of the cons then of selling high ticket personal training. The first one is there's a longer sales process. What do I mean by that? Well, typically when you are selling high ticket programs, you tend to pre-qualify somebody, and then that gets them into the position where you want to sit down with them for a longer period of time to find out even more and then present your offer. Now, I say it's a con, it could actually be seen as a pro as well. Here's why. Because if you use that pre-qualification, which normally takes about no more than 10 to 15 minutes maximum, that's where you're finding out if you can actually help somebody, whether or not they like what you have to offer, and whether or not they can afford to invest at the level that you are expecting somebody to invest at. If they can tick those 3 boxes, then yes, get them into an in-depth consultation. If they can't tick those 3 boxes, you've saved yourself potentially an hour of sitting down with somebody and just going through the process, only for them to say, no thanks, I don't want to do this. So it's a great way to actually turn it from a con into a pro. The second con is results can start to drift if you're not careful. If you sign a client up to lose, let's say, £50 over a 6-month period, and they start to stall after maybe 5 or 6 weeks, maybe they've lost a bit of weight, they're feeling good, and then they start to plateau. What you need to be careful of is this: clients who want to start to move the goalpost by saying things like, I'm feeling much more stronger now, I'm feeling much more confident, I've got less aches and pains in my body, therefore the weight loss thing's not such a big deal. What's happened there is 9 times out of 10 is they've started to not believe they can achieve their goal, and they're trying to attribute what they wanted to the feeling of fitter and stronger. Don't get me wrong, that is valid, that is important, and we should be promoting that as well as personal trainers. But if their goal was to lose weight when they came to you and they start giving you this line, you've got to be careful not to fall into that trap, because here's what will happen. You fall into that trap, you stop tracking their results in terms of their fat loss stroke weight loss, and when you get to the end of your 3, 6 or 12 month time with them, if they haven't achieved what they wanted to achieve when they started with you, not only are they not a happy teddy 9 times out of 10, I would suggest, even if they are stronger and feel fitter, they're still not fitting into the clothes they want to fit into. They are not going to be that happy, and that's not going to be great for your business. So just please bear that one in mind. And then the third con is, it's a simple one, and this is on you. And maybe comment below if you felt like this. And it's a bit of imposter syndrome, and it's just a fear that people will not invest with you for a high ticket program. And it's common for PTs to feel like this, but here's the reality. If you've put together a solid offer that promotes and promises a solid outcome in a period of time that somebody could achieve it in, and it's all timed out, and they can go, yeah, by week 1 we start here, by week 12 or by the end of the year I'm going to be in this sort of shape, people will happily invest in that. Please don't make the mistake of thinking, because we like doing physical activity and going to the gym and working out, the person that you are working with, the chances are they don't like working out, they don't like the gym, they don't think they can achieve the weight loss. And if you can help them achieve that goal that maybe has eluded them for years, even decades for some people, if you can help them achieve that, they will happily invest with you at a level that you would not believe. So please, please, please do not doubt yourself. Get your package out there. And again, if you need some help with that, click the link in the description. I'd be more than happy to help you out with that one. Until next time, take good care and bye for now.